What is up, my friends? My name's iirix, and today I'm looking at the second commander of the 2016 commander line that we got spoiled. It is October 25th, and we saw this one along... I keep bumping the camera. It's 14 seconds in. I bumped it twice. There, 3. Now it's done. Hat trick. It's the second one. Today, we got 2 of them spoiled. It was Breya and Saskia, I believe it was. And I really like this one. Not as much as I like the one from yesterday. If you watch my video yesterday where I did a track, so you'll kind of notice the scrap cardboard is the same as yesterday's proxy, but I mean, what do you want? I can't get the card yet. I'm just like you guys. I gotta wait until the 11th at the earliest to get the real card, but I wrote it down, and because I wanted to build the deck and I wanted to start testing it as soon as possible. If you've seen one of my other previous decks, Rashmi, Eternity's Crafter, I did the same thing. I proxied the actual card and I played it with my friends, and yeah, in fact I still haven't got the card yet because I'm lazy and cheap about it. But yeah, today we're looking at Breya. For white, blue, black, and red, you get a 4/4. Let's kind of just bring that a little closer there. It's a little blurry, sorry guys, camera folks, slow. So it's just a regular human, legendary human. When Breya comes into play, create 2 1/1 blue Thopters. As you can see, I kind of forgot blue right there. I had to add that. With flying. So for 4, you get a 4/4 and 2 1/1 flyers. That's not bad. Then her abilities are she has 3 different options for her ability. Sacrifice 2 artifacts. You can either deal 3 damage to a player, which you can also redirect to Planeswalker, so that's kind of cool. You can do -4/-4 to target creature, or you can gain 5 life. That last one is just kind of whatever, you know. But it's really nice. I like what you have going on here. So obviously you build it around a heavy artifact-based deck, and that's what I have going on here today. Looking at this, let's just dive right in. It's sorted like all my deck videos are. It's sorted by color, multicolor, artifact, and then the creatures and all that. Yeah, you just get in there. So we start with Indomitable Archangel, kind of do this little number here, then so you can see it a little bit better. All right, 2 white. You get a 4/4 flying. Metalcraft. Artifacts you control of Shroud. Metalcraft is you have to have 3 or more artifacts in play. Wrath of God, Day of Judgment, and Phyrexian Rebirth, and that's all of white. There is no spot removal in here. There's just wrath spells. Later on, I had a really hard time finding things to cut when building this deck today. Later on, when I find more things that I find are useless in the deck the way it is right now, I will cut them out and add in spot removal whenever I get the slots open. But for right now, it's just 4 wrath spells. And we got 2 planes. Moving on to blue, we have Chief Engineer. Artifact spells you cast have Convoke, which is nice. Grand Architect. Other blue creatures you control get +1/+1. Blue, you can make an artifact blue until end of turn, and tap an untapped blue creature, you get 2 mana. But unfortunately, that 2 mana, you have to spend it to cast artifacts or activate abilities of artifacts. But it's still pretty good. Master of Ethereum, Artifact Lord, and then his power and toughness are equal to the number of artifacts you have in play. Whirler Rogue makes 2 Thopters. The Thopters are pretty nice on their own, but then the added ability of tapping 2 untapped artifacts, so you can tap, you know, artifact lands if you put them in your deck. I didn't want to because I wanted more duels, and I prefer to have at least 2 of each basic, so I didn't do that. But yeah, 2 of each basic, so you can do the artifact lands and make something, make one of your creatures can't be blocked this turn. So I like Whirler Rogue a lot. We have Phyrexian Metamorph. It's a creature or an artifact clone. Master Transmuter. You use her to put, I don't know, just the most convenient example, you put Phyrexian Metamorph back in your hand, and then you go ahead and drop something else that's bigger and scarier. Aethersworn Adjudicator. Some people don't like this card. I think it's a fine card. 5 for 4/4 flying is already fair. And then what you do is you pay, it's basically Mortify on there, except you have to tap him too. 1 white, black tap, destroy target creature enchantment. 2 in a blue, you can untap him. So late game when you have 9 mana open, you can just kill 2 things at the end of the opponent's turn. Consecrated Sphinx, because if it's blue, if the deck is blue and you have this, you play it. So good. Dictator Crewfix, I think actually is personal opinion, this is the best one of the best full art cards I've seen. It's just great. And being foil too. I really like that. Going off on a tangent, the most recent game day at the time of recording obviously was the Eldritch Moon and Unsubstantiate was a promo. I think that would have been a beautiful foil, but they didn't do it. Instead, they made some Heron's Grace champion foil. Like, bleh. Moving on, we have Tameo. She taps stuff. She taps target permanents, so she taps your opponent's stuff. More than likely, you'll target the opponent's stuff. But with all the tapping of artifacts you have going on, if you -2, you could target yourself to draw more cards, because it's draw a card for each tapped creature target player controls. You'll be tapping your artifact creatures frequently to use other abilities. Tezzeret the Seeker, because obvious, he's great. He untaps artifacts, he tutors artifacts, can make your artifacts become 5/5s until end of turn. He's just so good. Teferi's in here mostly just for his -1 to untap up to 4 target permanents. +1, you look at 2 cards off top of your deck. You get 1 in hand, 1 on the bottom. Yeah, it's fine. The -1 to untap. The 10 I never plan on actually getting, but you can use your Planeswalker's Loyalty abilities on opponents' turns at instant speed. It's crazy good, but I mean, don't ever count on getting that one. Your opponent will stop you at any cost. Then we have 2 islands. The black section is very small because it's all about the multicolor for the black section, so 2 swamps. There's black. Alright. On to red, we have Goblin Welder. Tap, choose target artifact a player controls, a target artifact card in that player's graveyard, and then you basically switch them. It's pretty nice. Thopter Engineer is something that I like, but I'm not sure if it's going to stay in the deck for very long. She makes a Thopter when she comes into play, which is nice, and artifact creatures you control have haste, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to cut it. Trash for Treasure. Second artifact, get a different artifact from your graveyard into play. It's very nice. I love Trash for Treasure. Scrap Mastery. Pretty much the same thing, except it works for everybody and for all artifacts they have in play, all artifacts they have in their graveyard. It's really good. Chances are you're going to have way more artifacts in your deck than they do. Duretti, +2 for some card draw. You discard up 2 cards, then draw that many cards. -2, Trash for Treasure is his -2 ability. -10, like Teferi, if you ever get it, great. Don't count on it, but let's take a look at it. Whenever an artifact it's an emblem. Whenever an artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, return that card to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. Crazy good. I don't think your opponent will ever let you get that one off. Then we got 2 mountains, because I like to keep it even like that. Moving on to the multicolors, we have Baleful Strix. Flying Death Touch, draw a card when it comes to play and artifact. Yes, please. Tide Hollow Strix, 2/1 Flying Death Touch, no draw, but still an artifact. Sphinx Summoner, tutors out artifact creature cards, and then 5 for 3/3 flying is fair. Sharoom, everybody knows Sharoom. When she comes into play, you take an artifact from your graveyard, put it back into play. Everybody knows Sharoom. If you played EDH, if you haven't had the deck, you've considered building the deck, because Sharoom is just one of the... It's like, Sharoom's almost like iconic with the format. Enigma Sphinx, something I might not keep in here for very long. 7 mana for 5/4 flying. When it's put in the graveyard from play, you put it into your library, 3rd from the top. That's kind of cool. It can mess you up, unfortunately, if the opponent plans it out and then they know it's going to be a dead draw for you. That can bite you, but, you know, that's the game. And then it has Cascade. That's one of the reasons it's in here. It's a big artifact creature with Cascade. Sphinx of the Steel Wind. This is the artifact Achroma. 5 white, blue, black, so 6. For a 6/6, flying for strike, vigilance, lifelink, pro red, pro green. Super good. Why wouldn't you play it? Here's why. It's not in your colors, and or you don't have one. Supreme Verdict is our 4th Wrath spell in the deck. It's Wrath, can't be countered, straightforward. Tezzeret, Agent of Bolus, auto-include. +1, look at the top 5 cards. You take an artifact card from them, put it in your hand, put the rest on the bottom in any order. -1, target artifact becomes a 5/5 artifact creature. That's not until end of turn. Keep that in mind. So that stays as long as the creature's in play. -4, target opponent loses X life. You gain X life, or X is twice the number of artifacts you control. That should be a game ender right there, or very close. Moving into the dual lands, there's quite a few of them in here because I play a lot of these, and I collect these cheap dual lands like crazy. I'm not saying Godless Shrine is cheap. Like this one here is rather cheap, but yeah, Godless Shrine. I have for the 6 color pairs, the Shocks, the Cons, and the Guild Gates. So there's the 3 white black, there's 3 blue red, 3 blue black, 3 red white, 3 white blue, 3 black red, and then we have the Tri-lands. I do understand that not everybody will have the Godless Shrine or the Steam Vents, any of the Shock lands. So this is kind of like me saying, hey, it's okay to play the budget ones. I like these two here, so use those if you have to. Don't be ashamed. I love them. I got stacks of extra lands just for potential EDH decks. Here we have the tri-lands. There are 4 of them, all 4 tri-lands that I could possibly fit into the deck. We have then following Transguild Promenade and Rupture Spire. They're basically the same card. When it comes into play, tapped, unfortunately, and you have to pay 1 or sacrifice it, but beyond that, you just go and tap for any mana. Any color, I think it's great. A lot of people don't like it because it's slower than slow, but I like it a lot, so I play both. There is City of Brass, which gives you any mana, but you lose a life every time you tap it for that. And then, of course, the Command Tower, which is a staple in every deck. The only reason you don't play it is because you'd rather put in a forest for your mono green deck. Moving into artifacts, we have Arcbound Ravager. This is a $40 artifact sack outlet. That's all it is. Just sacrifice your artifacts. That's all he's there for. Mer Retriever can create some nasty combos. The most well-known combo, I think it's the most well-known combo with Mer Retriever, requires 2 of them, but they're clones. They're Sculpting Steel and Phyrexian Metamorph. It's not going to be hard to clone them, you know, and there's going to be other things to do it with, like Junk Diver, for example, except it goes to... no, it goes to hand. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, you could probably do it. But Junk Diver does the same thing, but it's flying. Mer Propagator, copy itself, an exact copy, so it gets that ability too. If it goes unchecked, you can go from 2 to 4 to 4 to 8 to 8 to 16 rather quick if you have the mana. Mer Welder, tap, imprint, and then it has all activated abilities of cards exiled with Mer Welder. Mer Galvanizer, Mer Lord, other Mers have +1/+1, 1 tap, untap each other Mer you control, again copy, that's infinite right there, it's ridiculous. Well, not quite. Let me explain it since I said it. Let's say you go and you have a Silver Mer, Gold Mer, one of the Mers that create mana. I don't think I have one in here actually, now that I think about it. But let's use Lodestone Mer because you could do it with that too. So what you do is you take your Mer Galvanizer, you take your Lodestone Mer, and we'll use Sculpting Steel because it's close. So we go ahead and we copy the Galvanizer. Now these go back and forth untapping each other, and then you have the, you know, you got to pay for the 1 unfortunately, but they just go back and forth untapping each other until you run out, and all the while you tap all your artifacts to make this guy massive, and then swing for, I don't know, 40, 50, 60, however much you can do. Mer Galvanizer is pretty sweet. So, Galvanizer. We have Shimmer Mer, or Shimmer, as I hear a lot. Flash. You can cast artifacts as though they had Flash. Solemn Simulacrum. Comes with play, you get a land. When it dies, you draw a card. Just great. You put them in every deck, or you don't have them. Lodestone Mer gets bigger. Tap an artifact to make him +1/+1, and he has Trample. It's nice. Voltaic Construct. Something I want to have in here. Is it going to stay? I hope so. It's pretty nice. 2 untapped target artifact creature. I like it a lot. Unfortunately, it is kind of a small body, so it can die easily. Next up, we have Dross Scorpion. When it or another artifact creature is put in the graveyard from play, you may untap target artifact. Easy to abuse combo with that. We have Kuldotha Forge Master. Tap 3, sacrifice 3 artifacts, tutor an artifact, and put it into play. So good, and with all these artifacts, why wouldn't you play it? Thopter Assembly. I like this card a lot, even though I know a lot of people don't like it. They choose to just avoid it entirely. I think it's cool. I like it a lot. 6 for 5/5 flying. Pretty fair. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control no other Thopters other than this one, put it back in your hand. Yawn. Excuse me. You put them back in your hand, and then you get 5 1/1 colorless Thopter tokens. Once they die, you could sacrifice them. You play them again, do it again if you want. Or just have a big 5/5 flyer. Wormcoil Engine, 6/6 for 6. Death Touch Lifelink. When it dies, you get 2 3/3 worms, 1 with Lifelink, 1 with Death Touch. Bosch Iron Golem, 3. He costs 8 for 6/7 trample, 3 in a red. You sack an artifact, you just throw it at the opponent and deal damage equal to its converted mana cost. Darksteel Colossus, 11 for an 11/11 trample, indestructible, but somehow if it dies, it goes back in your deck. Blightsteel, same thing, but for 1 more mana, you add on Infect. Everything else is the same. Moving on to the non-creature artifacts, we have Everflowing Chalice, helps with mana, followed by Soul Ring, followed by Mana Vault. Helps a lot with the mana, especially since we don't have green. We can't ramp as easy as we would like. Skull Clamp is very fine. I think it's a great addition, seeing as how Breya makes 1/1 Thopters. We saw Thopter Assembly. You know, there are plenty of 1/1 counters going there. 1/1 creature tokens, not counters. So Skull Clamp, pretty easy card draw. Sensei's Dividing Top. What deck doesn't this improve? You put it there or you don't have them. Spawning Pit is simply a sack outlet. That's it. It can make tokens, but it's mostly just there as a sack outlet if necessary. Staff of Domination is really nice. 3 to play, 1 untap it, 2 tap, you gain a life. 3 tap, untap target creature. 4 tap, tap target creature. 5 tap, draw a card. Love the staff. It's great. I'm so glad I got a set when they were $1 a piece years ago. Ashnod's Altar, mostly a sack outlet, but you can get 2 colorless mana per creature you sacrifice, so I like it a lot. But yeah, mostly there for a sack outlet. We have Sculpting Steel. Sleepy. I was up all night working. I apologize, guys. We have Sculpting Steel. It's an artifact clone. Proteus Staff, I'm excited to try, and hopefully it'll work out. What it does is you put a creature on the bottom of its owner's library, and then that player goes and reveals cards from the top of the deck till they hit a creature. It comes into play. Uses a sorcery. Easy to abuse, especially with tokens. It'll be hilarious. Especially, let's just go ahead and take a look at the last one we got here. Our last creature here was boo boo boo. Oh, look, a Blightsteel. How convenient. Bam, in play. What'd I lose? Little dinky Thopter off Breya. Alright, I made my pile messy. Okay, we got Pretty Staff. Moving on, we got Clock of Omens. Tap 2 untap artifacts to untap target artifact. Sounds like a loss. It's not. This can be used to easily abuse and make combos. Hey, look at that Myr Turbine. You can get an extra Myr out of it. That's nice. This is mostly in here just to tap and make a 1/1 colorless Myr, because I don't think you're going to be tutoring for Myr. As you saw, there's not a ton of Myr options in the deck. Mycosynth Lattice. I hear both. I don't know what's right. I give up. 6. All permanents, artifacts, in addition to their types. All cards that are in play, spells, and permanents are colorless, and players may spend mana as though were mana of any color. Just great in an artifact-heavy deck. All is dust. I lied. There's a 5th Wrath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm zoomed in. I keep forgetting. I'm talking with my hands here. You barely see it. All is dust. It's a 5th Wrath. Each player sacrifices all colored permanents he or she controls. We don't have tons of colorless spells, but we do have a fair amount. I think we'll almost always be on the gain with that. Darksteel Forge. Artifacts you control are indestructible. Period. Straightforward. Love it. Great. Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds. The cheat fetches, they go for basics, put it in play tapped. Reliquary Tower, you have no maximum hand size, and it taps for a colorless. And finally, Temple of the False God. Tap for 2 colorless if you have 5 or more lands. So, with that, I'm going to start shuffling up these cards, and I'm going to give you guys a little peek at how the deck draws and how an average draw looks. I did a few tests myself earlier with it before I started filming this, and I'm fairly happy with it. I'm not sure if the problem that I'm encountering is because of me or the deck or what. It's probably just the way that I think and want to play the deck. I want to play Breya as soon as possible, turn 4 or 5, but I feel like that might be too early because every one of my tests where I had done it, I didn't have a lot of artifacts to use her abilities, and I felt like she was kind of wasted potential sitting on the field just waiting to die. So I don't know, maybe I'd need to build the deck a little different to get more artifacts out quicker before I play Breya, or maybe I just don't play her as soon as possible. That's probably the way to go, because seeing, like, seriously, how many artifacts do you plan on getting out before turn 4 and be consistent with? It's not one of those things that's going to happen a lot, you know. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Take a look. Oh, well, we got 1 land. Sculpting Steel. No, we can't keep that. That's no good. 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 3 lands. And right there we got black, blue, red, white. We got all our colors right there. I think we'll have to keep this. For those of you who have not seen one of these videos where I do that, my play group is rather lax with the mulligan. You do not mulligan to a hand that dominates. You mulligan to a hand that's playable. And you simply do that by going and setting down the cards that you drew and drawing a new hand of 7. It's on the honor system because, I mean, we're not going to ask you to prove it because, you know, then everybody knows what's in everybody's hand every game. But, yeah, you mulligan like that until you have a playable hand, not an amazing hand. But anyway, we'll go ahead and start with Mystic Monastery. Next up, we're going to go untap, obviously. I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional. Let's see. Godless Shrine. No reason to pay the 2 life since we don't have anything that costs 2. Bam! Next turn. Ooh, the Guild Gate. Well, we're going to go ahead and do 3. Thopter Engineer, and we will get a Thopter token, which will be this die that is on a 2. It's a little hard to see on the camera. Sorry about that, guys. I'm looking at the camera trying to find the 1. Alright. Little hard to see. It's kind of bright, I know. My apologies. Alright, we untap next turn. Go ahead and play the Guild Gate. We still have 3 mana, and we unfortunately can't do anything with it. I think what we would have wanted to do is swing with the Thopter. I wasn't thinking. This gives him haste, so yeah, there's no reason not to have attacked with the Thopter, unless they got something that can block it. But yeah, anyway, untap, upkeep, draw. We got Transguild Promenade. This is what I was talking about because right here I just go white, blue, black, and red, and immediately play Breya as soon as I can because it's almost like why not. So we get 2 Thopters, we're up to 3. Might as well swing with all 3, unless they have a big blocker in the way. Next turn, we'll play Transguild Promenade, because now I'm not so focused on playing Breya. I have the mana available, but still nothing that costs 3. It's kind of a bad draw on this one. Staff of Domination. Let's see. I feel like, I mean, we got both Tezzerets here. I feel like the way to go is to play Tezzeret Agent of Bolus so we can look at the top 5. But I do like the -1 to make one of my Thopters 5/5. That just sounds hilarious. I'm feeling like the Mer Turbine is a valid strategy as well to start generating tokens a little sooner. But I think we're gonna have to go with good old Tezzy. We play Tezzeret. He comes into play with 3. We're going to go ahead and bump that up to 4 immediately. And look at the top 5. 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. Let's see. Well, we have 2 options. Mer Welder or Master of Ethereum. At the moment, since we have 3 flyers and we have nothing to imprint Mer Welder with, you could imprint the opponent's graveyard, but let's go ahead and do Master of Ethereum. So Master goes to hand. Swing with the 3 Thopters if there's no blocker. Go to next turn. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, 7 cards, so we were good. Now I'm definitely feeling playing the Master of Ethereum because once he's down, now these are 2/2s. You can start swinging with them. But they're probably blocked at this point in time. But yeah, so this is kind of a bad start as far as the mana base goes. It's playable. It doesn't look so bad. That's Master of Ethereum. We got Wicked Glare going on there. This isn't terrible. I wouldn't be upset if I was playing this. If I'm playing against my friends who are super competitive and they're playing really good, really fast decks, I'd be upset. Obviously, I'd probably be dead by now. But I feel like this has potential to go and definitely survive to the late game. Let's go ahead and shuffle up and take another look at what kind of hands we're looking at with this setup. Like I was saying, I really feel like I'm playing Breya just too early, and I can't justify it other than, what's the general? Just play the general fast and hard, you know? Just, why not? But that's not always the best way to do it. You don't play a Zedru deck and immediately throw him out with no defense, you know? Zedru is all about pillow fort and politics. Looking here, we got no red mana, but red's not a super big part of the deck, so I think we can survive since we got 4 lands. Let's take it. There's our red right there. Bam. Windscarred Crag. Still can't play anything for 1. And we got 2 mana up. Let's go ahead and drop that. And next turn. This is what, Junk Diver. A 3-drop on turn 4. Frustration. I don't think I want to play it, actually, because if it dies, you get an artifact from your graveyard in hand. There is no graveyard. Feels wasted. But looking at this is what I'm talking about. White. Yeah. White. White, blue, black, red. Go ahead and play Breya. We get 2 Thopters. It feels like you just want to play Breya as soon as you possibly can. And that's gotta be wrong. You know? Drop City of Brass. Angel feels like a good play. We only have 2 artifacts sitting down here, but we just need 1 more, and then they all have... I forget, is it Shroud or Hexproof? It's Shroud. Still fair. There's nothing in here that really targets your stuff other than untapping things. It's not like you're really out that much. Go ahead and drop the Azorius Guildgate. Now we can play Junk Diver, or we can play Phyrexian Metamorph and copy the Angel. This remains an artifact, and then that means that it can't be targeted. It has Shroud. This will give other artifacts Shroud, but if this dies, the actual Angel, if it dies, then it's gone. So I almost feel like doing this and having Shroud is great, just like that. So now all of our artifacts have Shroud outright, as long as we keep 3 of them on the field. Moving on, next turn. Got a Tri-land. That's the unfortunate thing about how I built this deck, is there's a lot of lands that come into play tapped. I put the shock lands in, even though I know not everybody has the amount of shock lands I have. I have about 50 of the shock lands in total, because when the Return to Ravnica set was announced to have reprinted shock lands, I got those up. I picked those up as quick as I could from friends and the shops whenever I had store credit from a draft or whatever. It was just scrambling to get as many as I could, because I knew the shocks were good, you know. And I know not a lot of people have as many as I do, or any at all, and I get that. The filter lands, same deal. They're expensive. The expensive fetches, I get that. So you're playing basics, but that's something I really like about Wizards and what they're doing. They printed the Guild Gates, which are great. So there's 1 of every color pair for the Guild Gates, and then we have, out of the cons, we have all of the duels again. So we have both those right there. And then what did they do? What did they do after that? They went and printed 5 of them in Shadows. I think it was Shadows. Yeah, 5 of them in Shadows. The 5 enemy pairs in Shadows, and the 5 allied pairs in Oath of the Gatewatch. So we have even more of this going on. It's just great. I'm super happy about it. But yeah, it's a great budgeted alternative to doing the expensive lands, because not everybody's going to want to go and spend the money on the shock lands, and I understand that. So super happy about that. Also happy that we saw lots of reprints of Temple of the False God. They've been in like every Commander Precon since, I think, the 2nd one. I don't think they were in the original one, but I don't know. It's good to see. So Soul Ring, of course, is everywhere. Every single one of them. So yeah, I like this a lot. I'm not so sure that... well, it's definitely not going to stay the way it is now. I'm not so sure that I want to go and change it a whole lot for a while. I think I just kind of want to hang on to what it is right now, but I definitely plan on doing a follow-up video in a few weeks at the earliest to go, hey, I talked to my friends, talk to them, see what they decide to do with Breya, and what I've experienced through playing the deck. And yeah, if you want to see a follow-up video kind of explaining that, and go, hey, here's what I learned, maybe you make these changes, don't do this, add this card, that card's surprisingly good, just what I've learned. Subscribe to the channel so you get that notification when I do a follow-up video. I'm going to continue to do these. I'm going to make every single one of the 4 color generals. This is Tuesday. It's going up late because I had camera issues. And it actually looks like my battery's about to die on my camera. So, I mean, this is my 3rd attempt at this. I am frustrated at this. And that's why it's going up late. So I apologize for making you guys wait this long, since she was spoiled at like 7 or 8 this morning. But yeah, Breya today. Yesterday was Atraxas. You can see I wrote the Atraxa. I wrote up the proxy on the scrap cardboard, and Breya today. Tomorrow I'll be doing Saskia, and hopefully sometime tomorrow they'll spoil. The damn camera's being difficult. It cut me off. I forgot. I don't know how much of it got said. I'll just say all of it again. Atraxa went up yesterday. It was Monday. Breya's today's Tuesday. Tomorrow, Wednesday, will be Saskia, and then hopefully we'll get the other two 4-color generals or commanders, whatever you want to call them, for Thursday and Friday, so I can get those up. So if you want to see those, subscribe to the channel. If you like what I got here, leave a like. If you don't like what I have, don't just hit the like button. You know, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think would be a great inclusion to this, and you know, we'll look at it, and I'll definitely put it in my notes, because I'm definitely trying to make these decks the best I can, since I love EDH. I have 30 decks or so. I kind of have a problem, but yeah, I'm definitely planning on keeping at least 3 of the 5 that I'm building this week. So thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more or the follow-up to this one, subscribe to the channel so that whenever I put that up, you get that notification. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you all in the next video.